Shalom, everybody, and it's another episode of Hananya Reacts. The United Nations General Assembly is taking place. World leaders are taking the podium and speaking. Some of them are speaking lies, some of them are speaking and saying good things. I want to react to both sides of the aisle, starting with President Trump, but I also want to react to what the Syrian president, for example, said. I mean, Syria, the neighbor of Israel. I think it's the first time that he speaks in 20-something years, like a representative, the president of Syria. Also, a very, very interesting statement that came from a country that I just never thought that he would say that on the global stage. So without further ado, let's start with President Trump, right? That's, I mean, you can't go wrong with that.
Thank you very much. Very much appreciated. And I don't mind making this speech without a teleprompter, because the teleprompter is not working. I feel
You just have to love his honesty. Whether people like him or not, he's down to earth. He says what he thinks, and to those of you that saw what President Trump said at Charlie Kirk's memorial ceremony, love him or hate him, he is speaking from his heart.
I feel very happy to be up here with you nevertheless, and that way you speak more from the heart. I can only say that whoever's operating this teleprompter is in big trouble. Proud nations must be allowed to protect their communities and prevent their societies from being overwhelmed by people they have never seen before, with different customs, religions, with different everything. Where migrants have violated laws, lodged false asylum claims, or claimed refugee status for illegitimate reasons, they should, in many cases, be immediately sent home. And while we will always have a big heart for places and people that are struggling and truly compassionate, answers will be given. We have to solve the problem, and we have to solve it in their countries, not create new problems in our countries. And we are very helpful to a lot of countries.
Before I continue, so he's obviously talking about the whole migration crisis that's taking place in Europe, across the world. But that's something that I was saying for so many years. It's great, actually it's not great that countries decided to just have an open border policy, but the problem is not with immigrants coming in. The immigrants should come in legally, but if your whole open border policy is because you want to solve their problem, why are you as a country solving the problem individually? Like for that specific immigrant, for that specific family, you're never going to be able to solve the problem as a whole if you do that. And if countries, came out of their really good heart to want to solve the problem for the immigrants, why not solve it in their home country? And that's exactly what President Trump is saying.
That are just not able to send their people anymore. It's time to end the failed experiment of open borders. You have to end it now. See, I can tell you. I'm really good at this stuff. Your countries are going to hell. In America...
Again, he's being a very, very honest, very honest with his words. But I have to say, whether that sounds bad, I believe that this is the truth. Look, we are living in an era where if you are saying that Europe is a Christian continent, you might be risking being prosecuted for offending somebody's feelings. But that's the truth. Europe is a Christian continent, and you should not apologize for wanting to preserve your heritage, your tradition. The whole point of immigrants coming to your country is that they should respect your tradition, your culture, your religion, and if they have a problem with that, they should pick themselves up and leave your country without even the need for deportation. But the reality of what we're seeing today is that you have a ton of immigrants coming to Europe to other places, also America under the Biden administration. I think the number stood at like 2 million. That's just insane number. I'm pretty sure that it's over 2 million. But if you have immigrants that back to the immigrants in Europe, you now walk in the streets of Europe, major cities like Paris, like London, like Oslo, they're unrecognizable. I visited London several times today, and not just the central part of London. You cannot recognize the city, and you'll have a hard time finding one true British person. Same in Paris. We in Israel actually have a joke. If you want to come to Paris, you better learn Arabic, not French. I want to move on to... Actually, I think that's probably the most surprising thing that I heard at the UN General Assembly, and I have to share this with you.
Again, Indonesia's complete support for the two-state solution.
So first of all, he's going to say things that I'm not going to agree with, but there's one big thing that I will agree with. But he's the president of Indonesia. Indonesia and Israel, they do not have any diplomatic relations, and with that background in mind, watch this.
In Palestine, we must have an independent Palestine, but we must also recognize, we must also respect, and we must also guarantee the safety and security of Israel. Only then we can have real peace, and no longer hate and no longer suspicion.
So I think it's really mind-blowing that the president of Indonesia, the largest Muslim country in the world, one of the most populous countries in the world, is saying Israel must be respected. Israel must be respected, and that's not something that we should take for granted. I also have to say that I don't know if it was only me that noticed, but it felt like when he said Palestine, he almost got a standing ovation at the General Assembly. But when he mentions Israel, then less claps, less excitement. You know, why? Why are people so excited to reward reward basically this October 7 massacre, in my opinion, with a state? And I made a video about it. Watch it on my YouTube channel, and if you're not subscribed, by the way, so make sure you do that, because we are together in this battle for truth. But let's continue to watch what he's saying.
The only solution is this two-state solution. Two descendants of Abraham must live in reconciliation, peace, and harmony. Arabs, Jews, we must live as one human family. Indonesia is committed to being part of making this vision a reality. Is this a dream? Maybe, but this is the beautiful dream that we must work together towards. If and when the United Nations Security Council and this great assembly decide Indonesia is prepared to deploy 20,000 or even more of our sons and daughters to help secure peace in Gaza or elsewhere. Thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Shalom.
Wow. So, first of all, there are some things that I disagree with, like, for example, the Hamas starvation campaign. It's true that Palestinians are suffering. I mean, war is horrible. We Israelis do not... it's not something that we want to have, but to see him concluding the speech by saying shalom, that's the last word that he said, and saying that Israel must be respected, that's it's really mind-blowing, coming from the largest Muslim country in the world. And while he was talking, I looked up, and Indonesia is a country of about 283 million people. And with that being said, there is a very large Christian community in Indonesia. So out of what almost 300 million people, there are I think about 20 million Christians. I met many of them. They're amazing people, and as an Israeli, I have to say that we dream of having peace with Indonesia. Our partnership can grow in ways that we cannot even imagine. One Christian lady told me that Indonesia has can export rice to Israel. We can export technology to Indonesia to help them with their agriculture and everything that they're doing. But you know, Indonesia is a great country, and I really hope that we will have peace. It's time to put the differences aside, and that does not mean that you compromise on your values and on what you believe in, but I think that our peoples can really benefit from having this peace. Now, okay, should I start now moving on to France or Syria? I don't know. You know what? I have a lot to say on France, so how about we give Macron, grill him next, I guess. Let's watch what President Macron of France says at the UN. And
we always called out.
Wait. I have to say, he said something. Obviously, for those of you that don't know, France is the country together with Saudi Arabia that pushed this whole wave of countries recognizing Palestine. So obviously he touched about that. That's already old news, okay? I want to watch this from a different perspective and watch the things that President Macron said about Ukraine, right? That's going to be interesting. Let's watch it.
Since we came together as a global parliament, peace and security are everything. For that reason, it's so important for Ukraine to resist Russia and have peace. They need to get their territory, their children, their wealth, and their future back.
Wow. So amazing. Ukraine must resist. Their children should live in peace. He is so decisive. He's giving such a powerful speech, right? If only he said these words about Israel. Let's just watch it again real quick. Imagine him saying it about Israel, okay?
Peace and security are everything. For that reason, it's so important for Ukraine to resist Russia and have peace. They need to get their territory, their children, their wealth, and their future back. The Russian aggression is not.
So, why is he so scared to say that about Israel? You know, I believe that France, Europe, they have, because of their problem with radical Islam. He's so scared to upset Muslims, radicals. You know, the problem is not, in my opinion, the problem is not with Muslims, but with radicalism, extremism. And he's having a problem to basically have a backbone. Macron doesn't have a backbone. But when it comes to Ukraine, he says all the right things. Let's just continue and watch it.
A problem of Europe, but rather a problem which plagues us all. It's our problem. It poses the eternal question of the force of law against mighty.
It's the problem of us all. It's not just Ukraine's problem. And again, saying it about Israel, it's not just Israel's problem. Hamas is not just Israel's problem. It's the problem of this whole world. This radicalism that plagues this region. You think that they're going to stop with Israel? But again, of course, Macron. Why would Macron say such a thing? It would hurt the feelings of these voters that he's trying to appease.
Is right, freedom against imperialism. Ukraine didn't want war. Ukraine wants peace. France too wants peace. The Europeans.
Israel too wants peace, Macron.
Want peace. The United States of America want peace. As such, Ukraine has a fundamental right, that is to live in security and to no longer fear that Russia will attack once more. It is for this reason France, with the United Kingdom, built a coalition of the willing, bringing together 35 nations to give Ukraine crucial security guarantees for the long term. As such, we're creating the conditions for a robust, just peace which will allow the Ukrainian people to really be masters of their own fate.
Wow. To really be the masters of their own fate. But God forbid the Jewish people will be the masters of their own fate, right, Macron? He's showing the pure hypocrisy of Western leaders. So he wants Ukraine to have a robust, strong peace, just peace, as he said. But for Israel, he wants to have a submissive, unjust peace. And what did he say that about ensuring that Russia will never attack Ukraine? So what about Israel? We have to ensure that such a massacre will never happen again. And you know, the way I see it, whether Macron likes what we are doing or not, we will not ask for permission from Macron or any other Western leader that recognizes Palestine how to run our security. With that being said, also I have this picture here that it's also funny how he rushed to shake hands with the Syrian president that just not a long time ago was fighting. Again, I don't want to say the word because of censorship, but this guy that he's shaking hands with just not too long ago was the enemy of the West, was calling France an imperialist country, or the West in general. Would Macron rush to shake hands with Prime Minister Netanyahu in front of everybody like this in the UN General Assembly? This is what I'm telling you. The West it's completely upside down. What's good is wrong. What's wrong is good. Like in what Isaiah has to say about it. Woe to those who call good evil and evil good. We don't have much time, but I just have to show you what the Syrian president said real quick.
Guarantee to bring to justice everyone accountable and responsible for bloodshed. And in this context, Israeli strikes and attacks against my country continue, and Israeli policies contradict the international supporting position for Syria, which threatens new crises and struggles in our region. For this purpose, and in face of this aggression, Syria is committed to dialogue, and we're committed to the disengagement of forces agreement of 1974, and we call on the international community to stand beside us in the face of these attacks. Ladies and gentlemen.
So I just took a short clip. His speech was about 9 minutes and something, pretty short, but he fails to mention why was Israel striking Syria. And it's because his militia groups were persecuting, massacring the Druze minority, as they did with the Christians, the Alawites, that, by the way, were crying out to Israel for help. And Israel is not going to sit idly by, so Israel took action to save the Druze. We have about 100,000 Druze people living in Israel. They're our brothers and sisters, and Israel took a stand for humanity. Now, the fact that he can't get his militias intact and doesn't have control about them, that, I don't know, maybe they were sent under his direct order. But that's why we saw Israel striking Damascus, Israel striking other sites. Trust me, Israel doesn't have an interest in striking its neighbor countries. Israel is extending its hand for peace, and I do believe that there is a chance to have peace with Syria as well. We Israelis, it would be a dream come true to go on vacation in Damascus, meet friends in Lebanon, or I don't know what. But bottom line, peace is possible. And I have to say that I do believe that actually peace will happen at some point. I spoke with some Syrian people, and what I'm hearing from them is actually very, very interesting on peace. They want peace. They don't see Israel as the obstacle to peace. Now, but again, maybe he has to say these things over the UN podium because it's his first time speaking there, first time of a Syrian president. And he needs to, I don't know, he needs to provide the receipts to somebody. But let's end with the UN chief, Antonio Guterres. He said really shameful things, but let's just watch bits of it.
Nothing can justify the horrific 7 October terror attacks by Hamas or the taking of hostages both of which I have repeatedly condemned.
Well, yeah, I have to say, so you condemned, first of all, he doesn't mention that how long did it take them to actually acknowledge that Hamas raped women, that it used rape as a mean of war. And another thing, if words are nothing if they're not backed by action. So instead of passing resolutions against Hamas, why are they passing resolutions against Israel? They want democracy in the world. They want democracy in the world. This body is meant to not only prevent another Holocaust, but also advance and make real progress, not the fake progressive progress, but real progress for democracies. But why is he, instead of standing with the democracy in the Middle East, attacking the democracy in the Middle East? And it might be just me, but it feels like he is using this war in Israel and what we have been through and still going through to attack us even further.
And nothing can justify the collective punishment of the Palestinian people or any form of ethnic cleansing. The systematic decimation of Gaza, the starvation of the population.
Falling to the Hamas propaganda, collective punishment. We didn't start this war. On October 6th, there was no war. Now, I don't know if you guys have seen all the videos of Palestinian activists posting about how Gaza was heaven on earth before October 7th. By the way, conflicting the other narrative that they were pushing, that Gaza is the largest open prison on planet Earth. So make up your minds. But to see him, the chief of the United Nations, this United Nothing, calling out Israel and basically using this platform to further attack Israel, this is just another blood libel dressed in UN language. But I have to say, it's not just an attack on Israel. It's an attack on everybody that believes in true values of democracy, peace, security, freedom. But we don't have much time, so I have to say thank you so much for watching, and please be sure to comment. Let me know what do you think about this video and this new camera that I'm using for the reaction video, because I just didn't like the quality before. But looking forward to hearing from you guys, and subscribe to my channel, subscribe to my newsletter, and join me on Telegram for 24/7 news updates from Israel. God bless you, and shalom.